Waiting for that to end.
James, I think you still have the music going.
All right. Well, that's a festive way to start the meeting, right? So welcome to the regular scheduled meeting, November 23rd, 2020 of the Rochester City Council. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Vixen.
Here.
Bavacqua.
Here.
Albrecht.
Here.
Harrison. Oh,
Here.
Peterson.
Here.
Sage.
Here.
Salvia.
Here.
Thank you. Now we're going to have Mayor Pro Tem Bavacqua lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Mayor Pro Tem.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. Thank you. It is harder when you're on your own, I think. Really got to bear down, right? First, we welcome everybody to the meeting tonight. First round of public comment, scheduled, non-scheduled presentation. We have our traditional selection of the mayor and the mayor pro tem. This is where I turn over the chair to our city attorney, Mr. Jeff Kroc. Kroc?
Yes,
Go
thank
ahead.
you. I guess on Zoom we won't physically do that because it's a long trip to do that. So at this point, I would be entertaining nominations, which are now in order for the office of the mayor of the city of Rochester. And this would be for a term expiring November of 2021. Councilmember Salvia?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Stuart Vixen for the position of mayor.
Okay, the name of Stuart Vixen has been placed in nomination for mayor. Are there any other further nominations for the office of mayor? Ms. Peterson?
Yes, I would like to nominate Nancy Salvia.
The name of Nancy Salvia has now also been placed in the nomination for the position of mayor. Are there any other nominations for the position of mayor? Being none, now that there are two, the procedure is that we go for the, we proceed with the, in the order nominated, and as soon as someone gets 4 votes, then the that process stops. So the 2 people who have been nominated for the office of mayor are Stuart Vixen and Nancy Salvia. Those in favor of Stuart Vixen for mayor for the city of Rochester for a term expiring November of 2021. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Vixen.
Yes.
Bavacqua.
Yes.
Albrecht.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
Peterson.
No.
Sage.
Yes.
Salvia.
Yes.
So the majority of yeses votes were received for Stuart Vixen. So he is now elected mayor of the city of Rochester for the term expiring November 2021. And so we will not proceed with the nomination of Nancy Salvia. At this time, nominations are in order for the office of mayor pro tem of the city of Rochester for a term expiring November of 2021.
I'd like to nominate Nancy Salvia.
The name of Nancy Salvia has been put forth for the office of mayor pro tem. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, I will close nominations for mayor pro tem. Madam Clerk, if you could please call the roll for Nancy Salvia for the position of mayor pro tem for the city of Rochester for a term expiring November of 2021.
Vixen.
Yes.
Bavacqua.
Yes.
Albrecht.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Sage.
Yes.
Salvia.
Yes.
A majority of yes votes being received for Nancy Salvia for mayor pro tem. She is now elected the mayor pro tem for the city of Rochester for the term expiring November 2021. Congratulations to Mayor Vixen and Mayor pro tem Nancy Salvia.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I just want to take a second. I want to thank the City Council for their support tonight. I appreciate that. I promised the council and the residents of the city that I will do my best to represent the city as the best I can. I know 2020 has been a difficult year, but I'm confident that 2021 is going to be a better year, and I look forward to working with each one of you. New Mayor Pro Tem, would you like to say anything?
Certainly, yes. I just echo your thoughts and appreciate the support of council. It really is a pleasure serving our city with all of you, and I look forward to this new opportunity to serve in a leadership capacity. And like you, Stuart Pixton, I do hope that 2021 brings better things. I think we've got a bit of a bump in the road here ahead of us, but we'll be leading strong through it. Thank you.
Very good. Okay, thank you. On to the next, we have an update from Senator McMorrow. Senator McMorrow, welcome to Rochester.
Thank you very much, and congratulations, Mayor Pro Tem, and good evening to everybody on the council. Wanted to provide an update on a few things this evening. Number one, Michigan officially certified our election results. There was nothing happening in Lansing today. Actually, I believe the State Board of Canvassers meeting is still ongoing. So I have to give tremendous credit to everybody who serves in that capacity for continuing to hear public comment. There were over 800 people who signed up to give public comment during the State Board of Canvassers meeting. So it is still ongoing and may still be for a number of hours. But I just want to take the opportunity to thank every single clerk, election official, poll worker. We saw record numbers of people signing up to be poll workers, to volunteer, to get out, particularly in the midst of a pandemic. And I know here in Oakland County, we broke our turnout records. We had, I believe it was 75.3% turnout, which just edges out turnout we saw in 2008, which was phenomenal to see. So my hope is that we can all move forward. There was one member of the State Board of Canvassers who abstained, didn't vote against certification, but did abstain. And he did call for the legislature to look into our election systems. And I'll be the first to say we have a number of bills already pending that, from what I've heard from our clerks and election officials, would do quite a bit to improve our election process, including providing a number of days ahead of election day for pre-processing. Other states like Florida actually allow for absentee ballots to begin to be counted prior to election day. So that's something that I hope we will take a look at to make sure we're not waiting multiple days beyond election day to get results. Because I think, as we've learned this year, that tests a lot of people's patience, and you start to kind of wonder what's happening and why it's taking so long for votes to come in. There's also a bill that my colleague Stephanie Chang introduced that would ensure that any precinct that is out of balance. So this is, for example, if you have a precinct where the poll book is a few off from the number of ballots that are there, this could be the result of somebody who signed in, got impatient, left the line. It could be the result of a tabulator getting jammed and scanning a ballot a couple of times. Minor human error that usually shifts votes around a couple of votes during the canvassing process. But currently in state law, any of those precincts that are out of balance are not eligible to be recounted. So there is a bill pending, and I think that's a really, really simple fix to make sure that all precincts, should there be a recount, can be recounted, and that's not going to inhibit that process. So I am looking forward to taking everything we learned from 2020, particularly in this unprecedented election year, to improve our election system. Absolutely. Second thing that I want to share an update on is the Open Meetings Act. We had a meeting earlier this afternoon, and City Manager Wing was a part of that with our office and a number of other offices. As the council knows, there was a bill that passed into law, Senate Bill 1108, to allow for virtual meetings through the end of the year, but it does sunset at the end of this year. And I will be the first to say I've been advocating for this to be a local municipality decision from day one. Currently, the way the law is written is that it requires a state of emergency to be declared either through the state and the governor or via a local county for a local city council or city commission or board to continue meeting virtually beyond this deadline. with the exception of individual members. If you have a medical condition, if you're away on military leave, you as an individual could participate in the meeting virtually. I think we all know that the COVID-19 pandemic is not going to disappear by the end of the year. So what we learned in the meeting today is that negotiations are still ongoing. I am still continuing to push for revisions to this bill. MML has been working very closely with Senator Lana Tice, who is the sponsor of the Senate bill. Ideally, they would like to see, and I agree, the deadline extended through June 30th, which is when many companies like GM have planned to continue remote operations. My understanding is that the bill sponsor is not amenable to that. So we are working right now on pushing for at least a March extension that gets us into the spring. We know there are some promising vaccines on the way, can hopefully get us there. But it was a really good meeting, and I appreciate the city manager for providing feedback. This is something that I want to continue to revise. I think one of the things that I've seen is virtual meetings have been a benefit to our communities. I think there are more people who can participate, more members of our community who may not be able to get out to a physical in-person meeting as regularly. So I'd like to see, frankly, government evolve and get to a place where much of the private sector is right now. So as you have thoughts about that, please feel free to communicate them to our office. It's something that I want to keep working on during lame duck and into the new session. With that, on lame duck, we are anticipating right now a relatively quiet lame duck. From what I know, we will keep you posted as soon as we hear how many session days we are meeting, what we're taking up, but we haven't received a schedule from the majority just yet. We will have some meetings, I just don't know how many. And then the last thing is we have updated in my office our virtual coffee hours. We do them every single week that the Senate is in session. We do them Fridays at 1 p.m. We are now live streaming all of those meetings on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn simultaneously. So anybody can join via any of those platforms, ask questions. It's been a phenomenal success over the past few months. At one point, we had more than 940 people participating in one of these meetings. So I would encourage anybody to hop in, check them out. And if we don't have a particularly active lame duck, my office will put out a schedule and keep holding these meetings just to keep engaging the community, getting feedback. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions if there are any.
Any questions for the Senator? Councilmember Peterson.
Hi, thank you, Senator McMorrow, for being here tonight and for your update. Question is, are we any closer yet to having a little more operations of the Secretary of State's office regarding getting active license, active again and renewed, and their past whatever?
It's a great question. And again, that's another one of those things where the deadline for forgiveness expires at the end of the year. So a few things that I'd like to see is that deadline to be extended, number one. Number two, we have been communicating fairly regularly with the Secretary of State's office on whether or not more of the renewals can be done online or at a kiosk, or getting more appointments available for people. We do know that the office created specialty times for people who are in that category of having their license expired, where there are appointments available only for people who fall into that category to try to expedite them. But our office has been receiving a number of complaints and issues of people that are having that. So it's an ongoing conversation. We know that the same day appointment system isn't a great option for people. You do have to do a lot of manual work to click around to various different offices. One of the suggestions that we've made to the Secretary of State's office is, rather than having to go online, go into each different Secretary of State location and look for an appointment, if they could somehow update the back end of their system so that you could say, I would like an appointment the next day anywhere within, let's say, 30 miles, and it would search the system. So that request is in. They said it's a good idea. They will look into being able to implement it, but it's something that if anybody is stuck, feel free to have them contact our office as well, and we can try to help, or at least point them in the right direction of trying to get an appointment.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Further questions for the Senator? Councilmember Albrecht.
Not a question, just a compliment. Senator McMorrow, in my day job, your office was very helpful to my work with all the delinquent unemployment claims that yeah, I'm sure you were dealing with a lot of other citizens in your territory, and you helped us work through that so all the people were able to get paid their unemployment benefits. So I just wanted to thank you and your team for all the work you did, and I know those were some tough months there for not only the unemployment agency, but the people who are waiting for their checks to come. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mark. And I know there was a point where we were stuck working with you and trying to get a few things through troubleshooting. So I'm glad we were able to get there. And I also just want to give a huge thanks to the Michigan Works Oakland County offices as well. They have been tremendously helpful. Probably a couple of months ago now, the UIA allowed for Michigan Works to have direct access to the unemployment system, which is something that our office, for privacy reasons, does not have access to. And they've been an incredible partner helping us work through our backlog and make sure that we can get people the benefits they need.
Thank you.
Very good. Anything further? Thank you for coming, Senator, and have a very nice Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You as well.
Take care. Next is public comment. Siona, is there anybody?
Yes, there is.
Okay. The 202 number?
Yes.
Okay. I think they need to hit something to unmute.
Unmute themselves.
Was that *6 on the phone?
Deanna, is it *6 or *9? I'm trying to remember.
*9.
*9.
Sienna, are you able to override and unmute them?
Nope.
Okay. So the number with 202, if you hit *9, we'll move on, and if they can come back, then we'll let them speak. Okay. Next, we have a consideration of the minutes of the regular meetings of October 12th, October 26th, October 29th, and November 9th. Counsel.
I'll make a motion to approve each one of them as presented, but I do have corrections or a comment to find out if it needs to be corrected on the October 12th meeting, 10C, page 4.
So, motion by Councilmember Peterson to accept all 4 of the meeting minutes. Is there a second?
Support with the other exception. Leanne and I talked about, there was some confusion with my name in one of them that she made updates to.
So, support by Councilmember Harrison. Councilmember Peterson, did you?
Yes, just real quick. I wanted clarification regarding the agreement that we have with the museum, because I had asked for clarification earlier after that meeting, and it was supposed to be just $10,000 per year, but it was not. I was told it was not a 3-year program. So I wanted to verify that, because it says it in the minutes that it was a 3-year services, for 3 years services each year, 10,000.
Okay, so you, Madam Clerk, are you good with that?
I can check with Blaine and we can read the language. I could put up to 3 years, but.
Oh, I really wanted clarification, Mayor, if we could. I want to make sure that before they get approved, that's clear, because it's not what I was told after the meeting.
Yeah, the agreement is one year.
Okay.
No 3 years at all.
But there was an option and discussion about 3 years, and maybe the council member Steve Sage might want to.
So it was approved on that basis, and that the city or the museum at any time could back out of the agreement. But I think there was a provision in there for up to 3 years.
All right, meeting minutes say strictly 3 years.
Okay, so you'll fix that, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Your Honor. Well, I'll get with Attorney Crott and Mr. Wing, and we will make sure that that's correct.
We're good.
Yep,
Is that
thank
good,
you.
Councilmember Peterson? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And Councilmember Harrison, you're good? Okay. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dixon,
Yes.
Bavacqua,
Yes.
Albrecht,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Sage,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes,
and thank council for letting me delay those minutes through the election.
No problem.
Thank you for your hard work. Next is there's no consent agenda tonight, no old business, no public hearings, no legislative deliberations. But we do have reports on regular business. First is a consideration of resolution for the Michigan Department of Treasury approved comprehensive financial plan for pension bonding. Mr. City Manager?
This is one that actually Anthony and Nick have been working on. So Anthony, if you want to.
Anthony, welcome.
Yeah, sure thing. Thank you, Mayor and all of council. So this has come before you a few times over this year as we're following the steps that Treasury has laid out on the approval process. We had a call with Treasury this last Friday, Friday the 13th, best day ever. And they have given us the approval of the plan as presented. So the final step is that Treasury approved plan, which is what's in your packet before you, goes back to council for final adoption of the resolution. That resolution then goes back to Treasury and they release the letter that they've already written and to give us the permission to move forward. Some notes to council I highlighted in the 5 parts that are on that on the memo there, what was updated. Essentially, it's a timing delay. So items like, okay, we now have 2020, June 30, 2020 numbers, and we have 2020 SEV numbers where we had 2019 figures before that. So it's just getting some of those items updated as the newer information becomes available. Same thing with the amortization tables and the savings summary that was provided by Huntington Securities. So before you, I'm happy to take any questions. And this is the final version. And on the calendar timeline, if council approves tonight, we should, this will go to Treasury tomorrow. They'll release the letter to us. And then talking with bond counsel Tom Colas and our municipal advisor Andy Campbell, we're looking at essentially right around Christmas as the bond issue would be the time that the bond could actually be issued. As the prior meeting, those proceeds would then go to Morgan Stanley in that Section 115 trust and be overseen by the retirement board. With the contributions going to MERS as required. So happy for any questions.
Councilmember Salvia. Mayor Pro Tem Salvia.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Treasurer, can we look at page 34 in the packet or page 14 of the financial plan? There's a signature on that page. It's dated 9/9/2020. And it certifies this financial plan. So I'm looking to clarify whose signature that is. There's normally with a signature, there's a name and title below it. And especially for something that's going into a record of certifying a plan, I think we need to know who signed that.
Happy to take that. That was delegated to Nick from Blaine. So that is Nick's signature on that certification plan.
Okay, so is it possible to amend that to have a name and title and what capacity he's acting in or something to clarify that?
Absolutely. Yeah, we can type right in that won't change anything for Treasury.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
I see that too. Okay.
Yep.
I hear Nick. So other than that, this exercise, is as we've said in the past, is a prudent financial position for the city. Over the course of the next 15 years, we look to save between $2 and $3 million. This is refinancing of existing debt. We maintain our AAA bond rating. So clearly this is a smart move, as well as continues to protect these pensions for 99 people, both current and future retirees. So I would like to make a motion to approve as presented. I believe the request was to approve the memo as presented, including the financial plan.
Support.
Motion by Councilmember Salvia, support by Councilmember Albrecht. Heard a couple of people.
Yeah.
Further discussion? I'd just like to say, I think I agree with Mayor Pro Tem Salvia. This is a great move. This is a no-brainer, as they say. So congratulations to the staff and for all of us for going along with it. So Madam Clerk, to roll, please.
Dixon,
Yes.
Bavacqua,
Yes.
Albrecht,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Sage,
Yes.
Salvia.
Yes.
Thank you. Next is a discussion to be a member of PROTECT, the Michigan Coalition to Protect Public Right-of-Ways. I think a few council people thought this should be discussed tonight. Comments? Councilmember Harrison.
I had a question. The fee associated with it, is it annually or monthly? I wasn't sure how often you pay that fee.
Annually. In the city's amount would be $1,588.88.
And I think in the past, we have said no to this. Is that correct?
That's correct. We were a member up until, and Anthony, correct me, I want to say it's 2010. 2010.
Correct. Yes. Yep.
Further discussion? Councilmember Albrecht. Again, I don't have a strong leaning one way or the other. When I got this, I suggested it come before City Council. Blaine, are other neighboring communities in this paying dues, like Rochester Hills or Shelby or Auburn Hills or any of our neighbors?
Not that I'm aware of, neighbors. There are other communities within Oakland County, though.
And do we lose any action or voice by not paying the membership?
We don't. They've continued to allow me and staff, and actually have come out and presented. The funds are primarily used for the legal briefings, though, and so that's why they try to have an annual budget somewhere, I want to say around 12,500 a year, and those are through the membership fees.
Councilmember Harrison.
I was going to ask what prompted this now. If we haven't been involved since 2010, why? Is there a specific reason that you'd like to see us join at this time?
Mr. City Manager.
This actually wasn't my request. They mailed a letter, an application for membership to every community, and they noted that the normal process around July, they actually tried, because of the coronavirus, to actually send it out through email, but they did not get the normal response. And so they actually sent a physical letter. I included it in a manager's update or report, and that's where at least one council member had talked with the mayor to ask for this item to be placed. And so I provided a little bit of the background information, which is on page 159 of tonight's packet.
Councilmember Sage.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. City Manager Wing. So the correspondence we have here for consideration lists 3 municipalities: Dearborn, Livonia, and Southfield. Are those the only 3 that we know of, or are they just a representative group to this request?
Yep, they're a representative group. I know in the past, and I'd have to check, I guess, the 2020 kind of membership, but I've attended a few of the meetings pre-COVID, and communities like Sterling Heights and other ones. There were also a few other communities from Oakland County that were present at that meeting. I've not gone back since, I guess, 2016 to actually check which communities are members or not. But if council would like me to, I'd be more than happy to.
Councilmember Albrecht.
Councilmember Sage, those three members are what makes up the board of directors of ProTech. So that's that. In that I brought this, and there's no voice to be lost by not paying. And in a fiscally tight year, I would, I don't know if we need a motion. I don't think we need to pay this. And if a motion not to pay, if that's what you need, city manager, or do we just need a head nod here?
On this one, if there's no motion, unless the mayor
No
would
motion, there's no motion.
Okay.
Anything
But
further, council?
No, I would not either.
Okay, so as the commercial goes, that's a no, I think. Watching too much football and too much news, right? We don't get out much. Next, receive a report from the various boards and commission, a report from the City Beautiful Commission. Councilmember Harrison.
Thank you. We had a very productive meeting last Wednesday night. I think that the City Beautiful's focus, they are discussing what new projects they can tackle, and they're trying to, I think, change their direction to see what they can do. So there was a lot of more exploring and discussion around ideas and things that we can do. The Rochester Pollinators is still very successful and doing projects throughout the community as much as they can now that we're heading into winter. And I think that they are just reevaluating right now what it is they can do and how to go about doing it. So there was some discussion around like the community garden, and looking at what they can do there, and some discussion around like where their focus should be. Is it more in the parks? So I think they're going into goals and objectives right now. Does that sound fair, Nick? Is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I think that's good. They talked about that. They wish they could do more hands-on things, but we don't know. Like we couldn't have Arbor Day planting last year and Mulchapalooza, et cetera. But they just continue to support our park staff. That's the best they could do at this point. Maybe focus on the mural on the what we call the GBB building. I know we talked about that, and working with the schools to get some kind of artwork on there. That's pretty much, Councilwoman.
Thank you.
Councilmember Salvia, Mayor Pro Tem Salvia. I'll get it right eventually.
So you mentioned the word community garden. And so I know we had some discussion earlier this year about a report out from the community garden in the fall. Well, it's harvest time, it's Thanksgiving, so it's probably a good time for that report out on, how did the garden season go? I know there's been some questions, just wanting to hear some feedback, and also the revenues that were collected from those garden plots. And I know that the organization would love to give that report out, so hopefully we can get that scheduled.
That would be through Dinosaur Hill. Correct. That would be great to have an update from them. And I think that would be helpful for the City Beautiful Commission to hear as well.
Councilmember Albrecht.
This might be a question more for Nick than Councilmember Harrison, but when we have special projects are approved and things are set aside, I think there was about a half a year ago some improvements for Elizabeth Park. Does that come under the purview of the City Beautiful Commission, or is that the Planning Commission? Where's the sort of the accountability for those special project give backs to the city go, Nick or Amanda?
Mr. Mayor, may I?
Yes.
Yeah, so we went through it. It was at last council meeting, I think you asked us to try to get together all the special projects and lay out the asks. So we finally, Sienna did a great job doing homework to find out what they were. So the answer is yes on 2 projects. So for the Rewald condominiums, their special project give was to put the sidewalks in at Elizabeth Park, the walkways. And then Mr. Mosheri's Blossom Mills, he said that on the record that he would put in the water wall and the rest of the landscaping. So Mosheri did not pull any permits, so obviously that doesn't kick in. Mr. Rewald had contacted administration last fall and said, I know I have to put the sidewalks in, but don't you want to do that when we do the landscaping? So we gave him Blaine till, this is before COVID, until April to make that call, and then COVID hit. So he's still on the hook for the sidewalks. He'd still have to put them in. as soon as we say put them in. We haven't engineered them yet, but we have a drawing that he had committed to. So that commitment is still there. And this spring, we could work to have them done. And we got to make sure they make sense without the rest of the project. But again, until Mosher pulls a permit, he's not triggered to do that. But certainly we can get the sidewalk to him.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yes, sir.
Councilmember Bavacqua.
I just have a little follow-up on that then. So just in terms of curiosity regarding the timeline, how long has it been since the Rewald project was approved and they had their occupancy versus how long it's taken to get the Elizabeth Park portion of their community benefit put together and done?
I can answer that. So it's been about a year again. So he reached out to us before pre-COVID and asked, I think you all know, he wanted to come back to city council and ask to use that money for another project he thought he might do.
It's been a year since they've been having occupancy in
Just about, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, but he called administration. He got approval to wait until April this spring because I couldn't put him in the winter. And then COVID hit, so we couldn't do anything. So we haven't, whenever we say, we being, if he says, put him in, I guess he's got to put him in. So it was supposed to be a package project. That was the whole idea. Scale of the county, because we don't know where the sleeves going for the electrical until the landscapes. It was a concept plan that we have from Lawrence Tech. And so it doesn't have engineering drawings or anything. So we've got to do some work before we can tell him where they go. And again, by him asking for a delay until April, that put that on hold and then didn't get done over the summer, obviously. But again, whenever we're ready, we just say, here, we got to get him the layout and he's got to pay for the concrete.
Thank you.
Peterson.
Thank you, Mayor. So, Nick, remember, you and I spoke regarding this here because the one day when I was out walking, we saw them out, his contractors out there measuring for everything. And we did speak to Jason, remember? And they had their concrete guys out looking. So I do know that was right before COVID hit. They had actually started doing their portion of that to get that lined up.
And we were trying to lay out where the ramps would go and try to line it all up. Yep.
So I'm okay with them. I'm okay with any of the developers right now that we have waiting just because of what has happened with COVID, and the cost is even more expensive now than it was prior to for most materials. And I know, yeah, it's not our problem, but in a way it is, because we would rather see them be able to do something fully without having to only do a partial. And in the end, I think it's also something that I think we need to stop thinking that every developer is going to come in and have a community give back, because I'm not in favor of asking a developer to come in and do that unless it's right there at their own property. And it's only to enhance that area with that they're currently working on, not other places in town.
Mr. Mayor, I might add that if timing's everything. So, well, part of the reason we held back also was the sidewalks kind of just go around, but we don't know that Mr. Mosher is going to build. So instead of waiting for that landscaping, part of on my agenda for the tree committee would be we have to plant trees, right? We could use tree funds on our own and not wait for Mosher to go ahead and at least plant the trees, start creating the space that the sidewalks will make sense in, right? We can also get the benches through the Memorial Bench Fund, get a couple benches so it has some purpose instead of just putting walks in the middle of nowhere. So I think we can coordinate this over the winter and then make a good project of that. So when we say put the walks, they have a sense of place right out of the gate, even if Mr. Mosher never goes ahead and builds.
Councilmember Peterson.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks, Nick, for that. However, I'm going to just disagree only because of that whole corner there and that whole section that they would be developing. I think that it would be very hard to maintain the credibility of the trees and everything else if we put them in prior to, just knowing that is almost zero lot line as well. And we're going to have to utilize almost the whole area around there. And I don't want us just planting trees that we don't know how are they going to really benefit in the end. That's all.
Okay. Thank you. City Manager Blaine?
Yeah, I just want to note that I did ask Nick and Sienna to go through all of our planning commission and city council and then look at the minutes for any of the community kind of give backs. In this upcoming manager's report, there's going to be a kind of a matrix that will actually show the project and talk about so that for each of the projects that are either pending or are in process, we've gone back and looked at the minutes and what the developer stated that they would actually have, so that we'll have that all documented. And that's where Nick was referring, saying it did take a little bit of time to actually go through and actually watch some of the minutes, the meetings, as the minutes were not as from the planning commission was not and city council were not as precise as we would have hoped. But we will have that information. It will be shared with council here in the next couple of days.
I'd just like everybody to remember that these were special projects and these were community things that these builders agreed to. So we weren't forcing them to do anything that they didn't agree to do. So I understand with COVID it stopped everything, but this was not the city strong arm. This is part of the special project thing that these builders asked for. Okay. Anything else, Councilmember Harrison? All good? Okay. Next is a report from the Pink Creek Trailways Commission, Councilmember Sage.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. During the last meeting, we approved an Eagle Scout project to replace the kiosk at the Ludlow intersection there of the trail, right next to Dillman Upton. So we're going to proceed with that. The Eagle Scout did ask, made a request that I want to pass along to the city and see if we can get some guidance. They would like the city to help remove the kiosk prior to the Eagle Scout troop putting in the new one. Is that doable?
Yes, we can work with them.
Okay, I'll coordinate then with the administration once the Eagle Scout gives us timing. Thank you. That was it.
All it takes is a sledgehammer or something, right? All right, next is a report from the Downtown Development Authority, Councilmember Peterson.
All right, thank you, Mayor. So major discussion was about the Festival of Trees that you all know just took place. It was very successful, even under this conditions. They've actually done a tremendous job. The DDA did with all the volunteers, and I want to thank all the sponsors and everybody who put that all together because it was truly magical. They did a great job. The Downtown Collaboration Studio was the perfect location for this to take place. And hopefully next year, Christy and her whole team and everybody will be able to do more. Also, they did talk about the collaboration, Downtown Collaboration Studio lease, and that was approved. And also Nick and Christy talked about the alternative fire and ice plan, but I'm not sure now where that's going to go if not. So they've been working really hard trying to keep our businesses moving forward and such, keeping them all positive and doing that. So hopefully the few things that they can continue to do will do that. I do have a couple thoughts though that I'd like to put out there regarding the DDA. I've been using the parking structure for the past 5 months, every day, July through now. Now with this latest order from the governor, our downtown parking structure is basically, I'm going to say, empty. And I'm very concerned for what we're going to do with the parking decks and their debt that we have for the bond debt on that, knowing that we're going to be losing revenue for quite some time because our parking structures actually have been full almost every single day up until this last order. So, and that was weekends and during the week. And so it's really troublesome. So I also think that because of this here, we need to think creatively for some other ideas. And one, I would like, if we can, during goals and objectives or something, and get with the DDA and really talk about combining the principal shopping district again with the DDA. I think right now what we have is this separation is not helping our downtown grow as efficiently as it should. And I think financially it is causing more of an issue for making the best decisions for what our downtown needs as we move forward. You know, everyone talks about these unprecedented times, but we're not doing anything proactively to look at the future of our downtown. I know the DDA and the PSD, they're working really hard at doing that, but I think as council, we need to take a step back and really look at how we are going to be able to maintain our downtown without losing businesses that are being heavily impacted right now. And I think there needs to be some solutions. I was just in downtown Royal Oak today, and they have set up outside and approved for all these businesses to have big outdoor tents that are being heated with seating and everything else to be able to serve dining outside as well through the winter and things like that. It looked really awesome downtown. They have many streets right on Main Street and some side streets with this here. And I think as a council, we need to really be forward thinking to help maintain our downtown, which we're just as responsible for as the DDA and that. So that is my report. Thank you.
Councilmember Bavacqua.
Yeah, I guess to follow up on Ms. Peterson's report, I mentioned something recently to both Blaine and Nick, hoping to hear back from the county regarding the opportunity to possibly use CARES funds to compensate the DDA for parklets. It seems to me it's not revenue replacement, it's expenditures directly associated with response to COVID. It seems to me like those should be applicable. I'm hoping that's going to be the case. If so, I think that we could look at the option of expanding that program to include some of the projects that Ms. Peterson's talking about regarding some heated outdoor areas. And then it might be a way that it could be done without straining our purse strings. So as soon as I hear back from the county, I'll be sure to pass that information along. Also heard that there may be an opportunity for the county to fund a restaurant rescue type of a program that could provide some funds there as well. So we'll see what happens, but there's some opportunities there possibly.
Very good. Councilmember Peterson.
Yes, thank you, Councilmember Bavacqua. So who have you been speaking with at the county regarding that, the Economic Development Group?
I was speaking with Commissioner Woodward about it, and he's been in touch with the Economic Development Group and is supposed to be getting a response back on that either today or tomorrow. So we'll see what happens, but if that doesn't work out, then like I said, they're also looking at some sort of restaurant relief program that may be implemented as well.
Thank you. I have one follow-up though, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there a way that when you do speak with him that you can find out if they do have any leftover grant money that was supposed to be free money for these small business? Because there were many small businesses that did not even get a chance to even use any of that money that was given. So I'm not sure how they, handed that out by the grants, but our community right now, I mean, you see it, we have so many restaurants. I mean, it's really hard hit. So I
would suggest that they reach out to Commissioner Kokendorfer. I mean, he'd be the one that makes the most sense. As far as I know, from what I've been told, they're looking for ways to try to put some of that money into the community that's left over, because the federal government, the way that it was written, didn't allow for any compensation for lost revenue for municipalities, and that kind of hindered their ability to get a lot of that money into the communities. You can't provide it to the DDAs to provide support. You can't provide it to us as a municipality to pay for lost revenue and parking. So, if there are some small businesses out there that are looking for some funds, there may still be opportunity for that. But I think that's a big reason why they have leftover money, is because they couldn't get it into the folks that needed it.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Councilmember Sage.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To follow up on Councilmember Bavacqua's comment there, I did speak with Commissioner Kuckendorfer last week regarding that same thing on behalf of a small business. He indicated that all those CARES funds have been allocated and there is nothing left from a county stamp.
Well, hopefully Mr. Woodward's correct, right? So, anything further on the DDA?
No, sir, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Next is a report from the Planning Commission. Councilmember Bavacqua.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We only had one item on the agenda, and that was the Chief Financial Credit Union is going to be renovating the U.S. Scuba Center building on Diversion. They're going to be putting in an ATM and a branch location there. That's going to be coming back in front of us for approval at assume in the very near future. And that was it.
We're good. Okay. Next on to new business for referral miscellaneous. Is there a public comment? Last chance, Siona, anything?
Yes, Pat Kane is actually on the line. Hopefully this actually works for her. Pat, if you can unmute yourself by pressing *6.
Are we safe now? Are we okay?
Yep.
Pat,
Oh, thank God.
You are on the air. Welcome.
Thank goodness. Okay, Patricia Kane, 817 West 4th Street. I've not spoken about smoke issues for quite a while, but it's necessary at this point to sort of kind of recap very briefly for you just the last few weeks. 2 weeks ago, I actually ended up at my physician's office unexpectedly because of smoke exposure that went on in our property for several days. And we did call at that point. I think the fire department came out. And to make a long story short, I have no choice when I get in from work except to do some of my work outdoors. I got very irritated because it was so acrid and strong. And to make a long story short, I ended up with a sinus infection directly contributed after having some laryngitis from the smoke irritating me so badly. I have doctor bills, I have antibiotics, and I ended up losing a week from work without wages. In healthcare right now, that is really bad because I have new staff and I was training. I went back to work, not happy. I was still on antibiotics, and you're not going to believe this. We got smoked out 3 nights in a row here, this past Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I took and did send Blaine communications, but I started really looking at things. I want the same air quality that Nick has around the corner, and I'm sorry to use Nick as an example, but every time the smoke was bad, I walked around our block, 1 block, and it's very upsetting to know that people across the street don't have it, people on the other end don't have it, and people around the corner don't have it. I want the same air quality that Nick has. I want the same air quality that people have across the street and not what we have. The smoke odor, and I'm going to just use the word smoke, but it's the odor, the gases, everything, is not going up, and we've done this. Wood smoke is classified as a Class A carcinogen. And we're not talking wood smoke from wood fires. We're talking residential wood smoke. The classification is Class A carcinogen. I'm not going to sit here any longer and have someone tell me that our air has to be so polluted here that it is dangerous. And that's what's happening for just a couple of people. Burlington, Vermont, and you know Vermont's fairly green and progressive. Burlington, Vermont voted down again, totally. And it's not because of COVID. They don't allow any fire pits or outdoor fires in the backyards because the houses are too close together and it adversely affects other people's health. My goodness, we've got the same thing here. Next to these new structures going in, I know you've heard about them up and down. Come on and look at our streets. At the mass, the height, the buildings. The smoke cannot go up. And I'm referring again to smoke, but it's the odor. The stench is horrible. After being smoked out 3 nights, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I wasn't feeling too hot at all when I went to work this morning, but I don't have much of a choice. We're short. I feel lousy. My doctor tells me if it keeps up with the smoke, come see him, because I'll tell you what they're worried about, constant irritation of the larynx, because wood smoke happens to cause pharyngeal and laryngeal cancer, among the other cancers. Next, Fort Collins, Colorado has stated that all during COVID, they're asking residents no outdoor fires, period. And why? Because PM 2.5 is an irritant anyway and embeds in the lungs. And with COVID, if it's embedded in your lungs, you may think, oh, I feel fantastic. But your lungs really aren't 100%. And it makes you more susceptible to a virus. A couple of people, our house is not the problem. Their yards are the problems. They're not owning acreage. I would really like, at this point, administration to take a look at this. In the meantime, we will continue to do what we've been told. We're going to call, but this time when the departments come out, I'm going to tell them, put that fire out. I told Blaine, and I'm very transparent. I actually told Blaine that we're looking at this from the wrong way. Here's just something that hit me, because I thought, what is the value of life? When you don't allow cigarettes in the park because they're dangerous, and many public places don't allow cigarettes because they're dangerous, but yet wood smoke is 100 times more dangerous to breathe at any level than cigarette smoke. That's something to think about. But here's the value. And I hate to bring this up, but I'm going to say Lenore cost us $3.2 million, okay? And it's just a structure. And the whole dispute over that structure was just over some language, really, because the building was beautiful, the building was completed, the building's very nice and fits the land. And a judge thought the damage from just what happened because of not following, I guess, instructions on a building, just to kind of gloss over it, the damage that party got was $3.2 million. So I'm going to ask you this. What do you think a judge awards for the damage to a life? Point blank, what's my husband's life worth? What's my health worth? Why do I have to have pollution to the point it is hazardous to health, causes real health problems on just our property area? Because that's where the smoke, this odor, this stench goes. After these people have been told, and one, we ended up in court, and one, there's even a little thing on file with the city, they were told by their landlord not to burn. Because the smoke doesn't go up because the chimney does not clear the roof line. And we all know that. We know which house that is. That's on Castell or on Taylor. The other one is right here on 4th. I guess I'm going to ask that you really take a look at this and how you want to deal with it, because I'm not going to have to deal with it anymore on our property. I think the toll it has taken, and knowing that my neighbors for 3 nights in a row, 3 evenings, had air quality that I would beg for, while we couldn't breathe. I'm not going to get sick anymore. And I'll tell you, when the officer was here, I believe it was Saturday when he was here, he actually asked to see Ed and talk to Ed to make sure how he was feeling, because it affected him. Ed rolled in from work, and guess what he could smell getting out of our car? It was strong. Now, I cannot see the fire that's next door from our house at all. And you know how I know there's a fire next door? Because if you open a door to let the dog out, or I open a door, or Ed comes in from work, or you go on the porch, the odor rolls into my house, and it's that strong. So all I have to do is go across the street and walk to the corner, and you can see the flames in the fire pit. So it has to be stopped. It is dangerous. We are being damaged by somebody's entertainment. And I'm going to say the same thing. Someone's entertainment, let them keep it on their property, and let them keep it in their lungs, and let them get sick. Let them maybe have some catastrophic, devastating situation that they can deal with. Their entertainment has nothing to do with my property. Where my property is located and how it's located has nothing to do with what's going on. I have the same rights. I pay the same taxes. I should have the same quality of air, and not from what 2 people dictate. Smoking or breathing wood smoke, that's a choice unless it's a wildfire. Our choice, and I've said it multiple times, is we're not going to breathe it. Why would I want to subject myself to carcinogens and toxins in PM 2.5 for my entire life living here in Rochester in this house, which, by the way, has the same rights as everybody else has? But I'm being denied. Not going to do it anymore. It's been far, far too cost. And to spend 3 nights in a row smoked out while everybody else had beautiful air to putting up Christmas lights, raking leaves. I had to suffer that. I'm wearing a mask right now, 9 hours a day, 4 days a week at work. And I'm going to tell you something. I've got Fridays off. When I come home, I want to be in my yard and I want to breathe without knowing I'm going to kill myself. I protect myself from COVID in the workplace. I protect myself with the patients, and I can't protect myself in my own home, in my own yard, or my husband. So I'm going to ask that you start to look at how other cities are doing this, because you know what? They're stopping it. And Rochester just keeps, oh, it's social. Oh, we can't. Yes, you can. Burlington does not allow it. They only allow propane and gas. So I would beg you at this point, because I'll keep calling, please have city administration perhaps let you know what's happening with other cities. And I think you need to look at it. These lots are too tiny. And Burlington came right out and said it. And you know what? The lots in Burlington are slightly larger than a lot of the lots right here. So it says something, okay? And I would really appreciate it, but you needed to know this happened. I want you to know it happened. I want you to understand it, because it's going to kill my husband. And as I told Blaine, no holds barred, this smoke pushes him to an earlier death. He was just at oncology last week. There's repercussions. And that's what I'm upset about. And this gentleman next door needs to be on acreage. That's it. This can't keep going on like this. And if not, I'd like everybody to suffer the same in this whole area and have the same air so they can't breathe and be outdoors. It's only fair. So I don't know how you're going to handle it with Blaine, but I appreciate Blaine. I appreciate our officer. Officer Beasley was very, very kind. Ed did not want to go to the hospital. He didn't want us to be checked. He was having a hard time breathing because it was so bad, and I made him stay in the house. And 2 weeks ago, like I said, I lost a week of work because of it. And after 3 days of smoke, guess what? My voice still isn't where it needs to be. So I definitely appreciate the attention, and putting that aside now, because it's on your plates. Congratulations, Mayor Bixson, and congratulations, Mayor Pro Tem Salvia. And I will just wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll get through this COVID one way or the other together, and it will work. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Manager Blaine, do you want to comment on that?
I did some research after talking, and Pat's actually shared quite a bit, through various emails. So several communities in Michigan over the last few years, and even just as of last year, have addressed what is becoming known as recreational fire, mostly with the fire pits, different than barbecuing or cooking outdoors. If council would like, I can report back on my findings and put that into something that council could discuss.
Sounds good. What happened when the police went out there? We know.
You want me to tell you?
Well, I was going to ask council. I was going to ask the city.
Okay.
City manager Blaine.
Yeah, so each of the time, I mean, so we've had both police and fire, and there's been reports documented, and I've gotten alerted, and the chief's gotten alerted, it's been hard to, to pinpoint, saying that is the smoke classified under our current ordinance as a nuisance, and so I think Pat will probably tell you there's not too much that has actually happened.
Okay. Pat, did you want to say something?
Well, that's the problem, and it has to stop. It's our property, it's our yard.
Okay.
That's it. And unfortunately, many cities have sent back their ordinances because of the International Fire Code, which they said is inadequate to address the complaints these other cities are all getting on neighbors suffering somebody's wood smoke for recreational purposes. So they've sent them back because it has no bearing.
Okay.
The other thing that's happened, oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought here. When the fire department has come out, they don't have enough where they can, how can I say this, teeth. They did offer to have him put the fire out the one night, which I think was Friday night. They did say that they said, you want us to go over there? We'll tell him to put it out. And I looked at him, and before I could say anything, he says, but you know he's not going to. I said, I know. I said, he's going to argue. They agreed. He's going to argue. So he said, all he can do then is everybody walks away. I told him I have been in touch. We've spoken about this before. So, unfortunately, poor Blaine gets the blunt of everything then. And this is what's happening. And this is not right. So you have to, as a city, address it to protect everybody. And like I said, this social habit, this entertainment, you got to look at your lots. You have to look at the buildings. And you have to look that everybody is entitled. This is not like a whiff of smoke that's 15 feet in the air or 10 feet and then going way up. This is stuff that is accurate, where if I walk outside to the end of my drive and come back in, my hair and clothes stink from that fire pit's fire. Okay. That is wrong. And I guess nobody would know what it's really like unless you're living here with it. The smoke does not go up. And so, you know what? It's got to be addressed. And they're all looking at addressing it. But many cities now, what I've talked to, are all going back. They're banning them. They're phasing them out. And it's just because it's health and it's air pollution. They're all saying the same thing. As the world is turning, why in closed areas are you contributing so much to air pollution? And they're saying that over 33% of these carcinogens and these PM 2.5s, they're not coming from vehicles and trucks anymore in cities like this. They're coming from residential wood fires. And it's harming people. And I just know that I'm not up to any more harm in our house, to our family, any more losses than what we have taken from years of this. And it has gotten now to the point it's ridiculous. And it has to stop. So, yeah, you know what? If we're hurt, who pays the bills? That's a big question. What is the value? We joked the other night, $1 million. You want my house? That's kind of where I'm heading right now, because I'm upset. And when you have to watch someone suffer, my husband didn't enjoy it watching me with a week off the way I felt. And it was stressful because my employer kept calling, even though I had a note from the doctor and everything. Here we go. And you come in and here we go, 3 days of it. Well, everybody else enjoyed their yards around me. And like I said, put up lights, did leaves. You couldn't. My dog went out in the backyard just to go to the bathroom and comes back and her fur smells from smoke. This is not right. And I hated using Nick as my example, but he's around the corner all weekend long. Beautiful. So just talk to Blaine, get up a plan and how to do it. And I'm not going to allow it on my property. And that's all I can tell you. I'm going to live like everybody else does around me. And if that means the house across the street, the house down the street, or the house around the corner, I want the same air quality and I deserve the same. Unfortunately, that's it. And so I thank you. I don't want to beleaguer this anymore. I'm tired. It's been a long day, and I'm certain you've all had a long day. Thank you so much for the time. Bye-bye.
Councilmember Harrison, did you have a comment?
She answered it. Thank you.
Councilmember Peterson.
Just one. I actually feel that because of this COVID that has been, and it's not just because of that, but COVID has caused such respiratory illnesses for so many people. I think that adding to that, we do seriously need to look at something. I too cannot breathe the smoke that ends up on the property either. So that smoke, and I really hate smelling pot anymore every time I walk out my door. So I think that we need to seriously think about this smoke thing, because everyone in our community does deserve to have clean air to breathe. And it's unfortunate that we have to continually deal with this for years. Yes, it could be private. Every resident has right to certain things, but not at the detriment of everyone's health. And right now, nobody needs to have anything in addition to end up causing more respiratory illnesses. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, Pat. On to the city manager update, or the check register, city manager Blaine Wing.
Yep. We just had one, which was the November 19th. And then if I could, Mayor, just continuing on to the manager's updates. Just a few that I wanted to highlight. I know Oakland University is going to be really promoting this, but there have been a lot of items that have been dedicated over the years, and then a large donation from Rod and Susan Wilson. And so this upcoming December 9th, and the information is included in our council packet. There's a Zoom link, and I'm sure Oakland University has this. But again, if you just go to our website and click on the packet, you can click on the actual link. It's on page 172. More information about this, and it's focusing on the greater Rochester area. So there is some history from Rochester as well. Just want to put a couple plugs in for a couple upcoming components. The Plaid Friday, which is on the 27th, and Small Business Saturday on the 28th. And again, there's links to information either on our city webpage or the DDA's webpage. And that's all I had, other than to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Be safe.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Salvia, Miscellaneous, anything?
Yeah, just a quick update from the OPC. The board met this past week. Donations have continued to come in strong. We finished the fiscal year and they're doing the audit. We also approved the guidelines to reopen the adult daycare at the OPC. There's been a lot of families that really need this. So TBD on when that would happen, but the guidelines have been reviewed and approved by the board. And the board also approved a longer closure over the Christmas holiday to give kind of a break so that people won't be coming in and coming out after being with family members, as well as the building will be fogged and cleaned during that time. So again, trying to adapt and keep everyone safe while providing the services that seniors really need. Just really concerned about people with the isolation in their homes, especially seniors, as this continues on. Other than that, happy Thanksgiving, everyone, and shop local.
Very good. Councilmember Sage.
Nothing this evening, sir.
Councilmember Bavacqua.
Nothing from me, thanks.
Councilmember Harrison.
Nothing from me. Thank you.
Attorney Crock.
Nothing. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Peterson.
Thank you, Mayor. Just two things. One, I look forward to working with you and Mayor Pro Tem Salvia. I do ask that this coming term that the two of you do reach out to all council members regarding issues. So it's unlike this past year. That would be most appreciative. And also, I would like to just publicly let people know that they should not trespass on my property anymore. Otherwise, they will be prosecuted. Thank you.
Councilmember Albrecht.
I just wanted to compliment Chris Detailer and Jen from the DDA, Sue Keels and the Royal Park Hotel, and Amber and the rest of the Festival of Trees team. Like many of you, I had my VIP ticket for Friday night, and then they announced the shutdown, and to see how quickly they pivoted and set up that room, I was able, from the safety of my home, to bid on some auction items, and I got a tree, a wreath, and a sled. So each year I'm running out of space for all this stuff, but it was great. I picked it up on Sunday, and just the hard work that those people put into this to really make this a great event for the city, I just applaud them. Secondly, this is going to be the first Thanksgiving in my life without family. I know I'm not alone. There's a lot of other people in the same boat, and we're making the right decision to do that. So keep your bubble small, stay safe. If you have people over, CDC encourages to have a window open so there's air flowing through there. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Be safe.
Thank you. City Clerk O'Connor,
Nothing this evening, Your Honor.
nothing at all about the election or anything?
Oh, no, I'm good.
Very good. Assistant City Manager Vanda, anything?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Councilman now Bavacqua, Mayor Pro Tem Bavacqua, for your service as Mayor Pro Tem. Appreciate working with you and Nancy. Congratulations, and looking forward to you and the mayor in the next year. And then again, I echo everybody, happy Thanksgiving. Do the best you can, and hopefully next year a little more normal.
Thank you. I just have a couple things. One, I'd like to say, if you can, shop local. I know it's a difficult time for our downtown. Anything you can do to help in these difficult times, and it's been a difficult year, so anything we can do to help is appreciated. And I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. I think we're very blessed to live in Rochester. It's a wonderful community. I know there's a lot of people suffering out there, so we are very blessed to live in this great area, in this great city. I look forward to working with this city council in the coming year. And again, hopefully 2021 is going to be a lot better than 2020. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Thank you for coming tonight, and we will see you at the next meeting. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.
Night.
Thanksgiving.